What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to look at the second team for the Spring Cup that I made, and it is Jellicent, Mawile, Mantine. Now this may seem a little bit strange for me because it almost seems like an ABA style team, and I never play ABA style teams, but it's actually not because Jellicent struggles against grass, and then the two in the back are actually good against grass. Mantine's pretty neutral in this meta. It has a lot of decent play against everything that's kind of not the top meta. Jellicent is good against everything that is the top meta except for Ferrothorn, and Mawile obviously destroys Ferrothorn, and it's not a bad matchup. Mawile doesn't have a bad matchup into WEEZING either, especially when we're running Ironhead instead, and it's just kind of a bait situation. So this team did take me all the way to veteran, as you see in the title. I went 22-3 with this team. So as you know, as you can already tell, it was super successful. So without further ado, let's hop into some battles. Okay, so right away we see the only core breaker for this team in the very first match that I had for this team. Fortunately for me, they do throw an alignment. I think I try and call a bait here, and they do full send a wild charge, and I live with 1 HP, so I blind click the surf, expecting them to switch into something that could absorb a shadow ball, and they don't. They actually switch into a Ferrothorn, but that's okay because I can at least align my Mawile here. They can go for a flash cannon, which would hurt, so I'm going to respect it, and they bait with a power whip, which is a little silly because they're only going to get to one move either way, and I am able to get the full farm down. Now, are they going to come back in with that electrode? They are. So my opponent's team building, not great here. They're ABA grass. However, I believe we can probably just go for the full farm down if they full send another wild charge, and they do. And it is a Lurantis in the back. So I farm up as much as I can. I go for a power up punch just to chip, and then I'm going to go for a catch onto my Mantine, and I am able to get it. Did we catch the superpower, or was it just a leaf blade? It was the superpower, so that is huge because now I can just go for a full wing attack farm down. They will make it to one move. This will only be a leaf blade, which is neutral here. We can eat that wing attack farm down, and then I believe we can wing attack farm down the electrode, so my opponent just resigns the match. Ferrothorn on the lead, another bad lead. This time I'm going to switch into my Mantine because I at least want to take neutral damage, and most Ferrothorns are not running Thunder in this meta. However, if they farm up to 5 bullet seeds, I will always respect it. This one chips the power whip and then comes in with a Lapras, so I'm in a pretty difficult situation at the moment. I do have to just spam out these neutral aerial aces, and they're most likely going to be able to get to a full sideway farm down before I can even get them into the red. But they can probably throw in order to take me out before I even make it to a third move, and that's exactly what they do. Sparkling Aria is enough to KO from this range. Fortunately, I can come in with my Jellicent and just eat every charge move. Everything the Lapras can learn is resisted here, so I will always be no-shielding everything they have. It is just Sparkling Aria, and that does laughable damage onto the Jellicent. I mean, both these Pokemon are bulky, so it makes sense, but Sparkling Aria, 2 of those come in, and it's only really the Psy Waves that are adding up. Doesn't look like I'm going to get the full farm down, so I am forced to throw some energy. I will just throw a Surf to KO the low HP Lapras, and I'm instantly switching into my Mawile, and it is a Golisopod in the back. But unfortunately for my opponent, they've given me a energy advantage, and there are 2 shields in play, and these Fire Fangs, believe it or not, they're neutral. It's super effective on Bug and resistant on Water, so these boosted Fire Fangs now that are coming with these power up punches are actually going to do some pretty meaningful damage. So I am just going to double shield my Mawile. I'm going to go for the full Fire Fang farm down, and then I'm going to come out loaded with energy. That being said, I don't really need to use energy. I'm going for a just a farm down here with the Fire Fangs. I do throw just to at least grab a shield, and then I'm instantly sniping, knowing that they're at back-to-back, forcing them to throw, and also catching a move. So we just did a CMP sack swap there, which is absolutely crazy. This Ferrothorn did full send a power whip. They undercharge it, and then they get 3 bullet seeds, which means they're 1 away from the move, and we are able to get the Fire Fang farm down before they're able to get there. Mawile in the lead. This is a good lead because Fire Fang is resisted. So we stay in this matchup. They switch into a Lapras. They're absolutely core broken by the Jellicent, and as you see on the bottom right, they instantly quit the match after I threw the Shadow Ball. They perhaps forgot about Jellicent, so they just resigned the match. Go-Goat on the lead in the next match. This is the first time I'm seeing this Pokemon in the Go Battle League, so that was pretty cool. I believe this thing does learn, was it Leaf Blade or something? With Vine Whips, or just Seed Bomb, I guess. And then they chip, and then they come in with a Ferrothorn. So a lot of people ABA weak to Mawile, which is a little bit strange when it's like in the top 15 ranked Pokemon in this cup. So a little bit weird, but they do have a perfect answer for me, unfortunately, and it is the Ferrothorn. They are going to get the full farm down, which means I am kind of forced to throw my energy and chip this as low as I can, and I do. And at this point, I'm just going to Fire Fang them down because I know I can eat any one charge move. They're not at enough for a Flash Cannon. They are, however, at enough for a Mirror Shot, and it is a Bruxish in the back, and they're actually staying in this matchup, which is honestly great for me because I 100% need my Mawile to win this game. In fact, I want to just force them to throw some energy, so I'm going to over-farm. I'm probably just going to let this go because at this point they're in Fire Fang farm down range, and Confusions aren't going to do anything. So I am able to get the full farm down. I will respect it because it is enough also for an Aqua Tail, and they actually do full send the Aqua Tail, which is awesome. And at this point, I'm at back-to-back power-up punches. I built up to the Iron Head, so they do actually respect it. I'm going to build up again, and then once again go for the power-up punch. Are they going to respect it again? They are going to respect it again, so that's 2 shields. Can we get the full farm down before they're able to make 2 moves? We can, so we are able to take that win. Mirror match on the lead in the next match. So this is entirely a bait game. Unfortunately, you can try and catch out of this matchup if you'd like, but it looks like we actually win CMP with that 4 attack, which is super nice. Just going to bait with the Surf. We grab a shield. You didn't see the shield, but we did grab it, and you'll see as soon as it's over. I decided to call the bait, and they did bait with a Surf, which is absolutely massive. So I farm back into the Shadow Ball. I am full sending it this time because either I want to take out or grab that final shield. And at this point, the Jellicent's job is done. So I'm just going to let this go. There's no point really because they'd be able to outpace if they baited, and they do bait again. So we have a 2 shield advantage in a completely neutral matchup, which is crazy. And then they have a Dugong in response to my Mantine. Dugong is okay to bait out because of the super effective drill runs onto our Mawile. And they throw an alignment, which means we get a free wing attack there. And that will at least allow us to get to 2 more aerial aces before they're able to make it to another icy wind, which is nice. So here comes 1, 4 more wing attacks, and here comes another. Always making sure to throw in good timing. And at this point, my opponent probably will just go for one of the move into the icy wind. I'm fine with letting my Mantine go here. It is super debuffed, and I will just take an energy lead on my Mawile. Fire Fangs are neutral here, and they're not going to get to another move, and they have their own Mawile in the back. I make a mistake here. I go for a power-up punch when I really should just be over-farming to the Iron Head because they have no shields remaining in play. However, that does, by boosting my attack, that actually lets me get the full farm down. I will shield this up, and then I'm instantly going to switch and catch the Surf from my opponent, and this will be enough to not KO because my opponent also makes a really nice undercharge. So now they are close to another move. They're not at back-to-back though, and at this point they are in Iron Head range, even though it is resisted. So 1 more and the move. They aren't able to get the Hex down before we're able to make it to the Iron Head, and Iron Head from this range KOs the Jellicent. We Fire Fang, farm down the Dugong, and we're able to take that win. Into the next match, we have another Ferrothorn on the lead, so another bad lead. Switching into the Mantine, probably just going to have to eat a Power Whip here because no one has a great response to Mantine, it seems. And they do send the Power Whip, and then they come in with their own Mantine. So I am going to farm up, throw right before they get to their first Aerial Ace. Going for the Ice Beam because it does hit just a little bit harder than the Aerial Ace does. And at this point, because they weren't going to let me get to another Ice Beam, I actually throw the Aerial Ace right before. And this does some decent chip, and it's a CMP tie. So I can actually just let this go and then come in with my Jellicent. It isn't quite enough to KO, which means they do get a nice wing attack farm down. However, I can still eat this energy on Jellicent. I'm not really too worried about Aerial Aces here. Aerial Ace is not that threatening. It is stab, but it doesn't hurt that much, and wing attacks aren't going to add up as well. So I'm just going to eat another. At this point, I will just get the full Hex farm down, and I'm going to come out with a Shadow Ball loaded, and I can instantly throw this Shadow Ball at the Ferrothorn, because my opponent may not know that we have a perfect answer, and they may shield, which would be fantastic. They actually don't shield, but that doesn't matter, because that actually puts them in perfect farm down range, and guess what? It is a Weezing in the back. They don't even farm up to an overheat, so I am just going to let this go. It is a sludge that is resisted damage because it is double resisted on steel and single super effective on the fairy. We do build up to the Iron Head and we full send it. Unfortunately, my opponent does respect it, but once again, they only farm up to a sludge. This won't be enough to KO, but I will respect the damage just on the off chance. I think they did farm up to an overheat that time, actually, so I did at least respect it. It was just another sludge. And at this point, I am just going to go for the Surf because I actually don't want to KO. I need energy on my Mawile. So I full send the Surf, and then I just decide to stand there. You'll see they throw their energy here, which is great for me. They full send a Power Whip, but they actually undercharge it. And look, both of us are just sitting there. I was worried that my game just wasn't updating, so I actually do end up throwing the Hex. But at this point, they have to make it to back-to-back moves. I'm going to let the first go. It is only single resisted. They are already at the back-to-back moves, but fortunately we do just barely live one. Can we make it to the Iron Head before they make it to the next move, or we just get the full Fire Fang farm down, so we're able to take that win. Okay, Mawile on the lead. Finally another good lead, and they're on Astonish, so oh crap, gotta get out of that matchup. Come in with our own Mawile because it's kind of our only response. And they actually did make it to an Iron Head. I tried to call the bait there, but they had a great response in Swampert either way, so I'm kind of glad I just let that go. And Swampert is able to get the full Mudshot farm down. Swampert, however, you would think, oh, maybe I should come in with Mantine, it's a ground water, but in this meta, it's running Sludge and Hydro, which are all resisted on Jellicent. So I'm actually going to come back in with my Jellicent here, because they're probably not on Earthquake, and they show that right away. I will say though, Sludge is a worse damage per energy move than Hydro Cannon, so as the Swampert here, you should always be going Hydro, unless for some reason they're running like Sludge Earthquake, but then they should have been full sending Earthquake, so I'm not really sure what they're doing. Either way, we eat two Sludges, we get the full farm down. We're going to at least try and chip this Mawile with a Surf, but they do actually shield that up, so now we have a shield advantage coming into our Mantine. This is not enough for another big move, and Iron Head is resisted here, so I actually just let that go, and I am going to overfarm here, just throwing the Aerial Ace just to KO the Mawile, because these Astonishes are starting to add up, and they actually shield, but once again, I'm pretty sure this is only a power-up punch, so yeah, but I do need to start shielding something, but at this point, I just need to get rid of this Mawile. Throwing after 2, that second Astonish will not register because of that. And it is an Amoonguss in the back, and unfortunately for Amoonguss, its pacing is real bad, and they need to make it to back-to-back moves here. And once they made it to back-to-back, I would be able to catch, but they're not going to get there before I get to an Ice Beam plus the wing attacks, which are able to farm down, so we're able to take that win. WEEZING on the lead. This is a great lead because all of their charge moves are likely resisted. They have a Golisopod in the back. We have a fantastic response here in Mantine. And this is where Mantine is better than Pelipper because you have a quick flying type charge move that you can use to maintain switch. My opponent instantly resigns the match there. Into the next match, we have a Gastrodon on the lead. Unfortunately, this is not where we want to see it. This is a neutral matchup at best. I am going to full send a Shadow Ball here. This will do some pretty nice chip. I believe you can actually just go double Surf in this matchup after playing it out, because yeah, a Shadow Ball plus a Surf actually seems like not great. I'm not sure who wins CMP in this matchup. I would assume the Gastrodon, but I could be wrong. But I am just going to throw the Surf before they get to their next Earth Power, because they did not bait, and they do shield back, which means I'm going to just have to give them Switch. I could double shield and Hex Farm down, but I don't really want to do that when I have such a great response in Mantine. And I should be able to get the full Wing Attack farm down, coming out basically unfazed. And it is a Ferrothorn in the back. So I'm just going to chip with an Ice Beam, and then I'm going to go for 1 and the move, or sorry, 1 and catch. trying to catch a power whip there, but I'm unsuccessful. But they have their own Mawile in the back, so they're double steal with a Gastrodon on the lead. So pretty interesting stuff. But they actually shield a power-up punch, and I'm not really going to shield one back because I need this shield for my Mantine, and these Fire Fangs are going to get the Mawile low enough that I can just wing attack farm them down, and the Fire Fangs are resisted. So now I should be able to eat a power whip no problem. However, on the off chance they have Thunder, I am going to respect it here. They do not. It is just the power whip. But at this point, I'm able to make it to another Ice Beam. Ice Beam from this range. Not quite enough, but one more wing attack is enough to KO the Ferrothorn, and we're able to take that win. Into the last match, I think, of the video, we have a Rapidash from my opponent's side, and Rapidash does have access to Wild Charge, and it looks like they are farming up to back-to-back, so I will respect it. I do farm up to the Shadow Ball, and I bait with the Surf, and I'm going to respect it here. I think my goal in this matchup is to just fully Hex farm them down and come out loaded with energy, which does mean double shielding a Wild Charge here, and that's okay. And then they have a Trevenant in the back, so we take Switch. We can align our Mantine here, just because Mantine can more easily take a Shadow Ball. And we have super effective charge move coverage, so they wouldn't be able to outpace before, like in case we weren't able to get the full Fire Fang farm down. So I actually just over farm as much as I can. I throw the Ice Beam before they get to the next move, and Ice Beam is enough to KO from that range. What is in the back? It is not a Golisopod, it is an Araquanid. And this Araquanid is on Infestation, which means their charge moves, they can actually get to their charge moves just a little bit quicker. They come back in with the Jellicent, they come back in with the Rapidash. I'm just going to sacrifice the Jellicent here. I didn't want to come in with the Mawile and completely sacrifice it, considering I hadn't really used it yet. It was still full HP, and Fire Fangs are neutral. This will be a little bit of a tricky matchup if they are on Water Pulse, but it looks like they're just on Bubble Beam, and unfortunately for my opponent, especially when you throw an alignment, I'm going to just be able to reboost my attack back up with these power-up punches. Iron Head is resisted here, and Araquanid is so bulky that there's no really point in going for it. I may as well just boost my fast attack, even though it doesn't look like they're doing that much damage either. But once again, their fast attack is also doing nothing. And I could always reset my debuffs at any time, but at this point I have put them in Iron Head range, or just about, and I can snipe with a wing attack, and we are able to take that win. So yeah, that is the Jellicent Mawile core with Mantine as a third. This core is a great anti-meta core that was honestly ridiculously strong. I mean, Jellicent, it's just so strong because it has play into Tentacruel, which has virtually disappeared. It has play into WEEZING. It walls Lapras as well. Like, this thing is nuts. And why it's ranked so low, I have no idea. It's like ranked 50 or something. It's an absolute incredible core breaker. It's super bulky. It's got great fast and charge moves, so definitely use this thing, utilize it while you can. Pair it with Mawile. Mawile makes a fantastic core, basically perfect. And then Mantine as a third, just because of what I kept getting like Golisopod save switches, and even though Golisopod's charge moves are also walled by Jellicent, I wanted something that was even better in the back, and Mantine also deals with the grasses as well. If you wanted to improve this team, you could actually probably run Tropius, Air/Tropius in the back with Aerial Ace and Leaf Blade, and I think that would actually work better. However, Mantine does have some unique play into like a Mawile. It's more neutral. But yeah, that's the team. That's the video. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.